Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Good evening. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
Hello. So tonight on This Is Why We Fight, we are talking about something that's a little bit darker than our normal fare for a Friday evening, but something we feel is incredibly important. So we will probably end the show having a laugh as always, but we felt that this was too important to ignore. So anyway, let's say good evening to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for turning up so early.
Before we get on to the good evenings, I've been weirded out because you posted a message and it went through to VK. I forgot we was even on that platform.
Oh, okay. I did notice, actually. It threw me a bit. Because it came up with This Is Why We Fight UK, and I'm like, that's not our name.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Not
sure what's going on there.
Anyway, let's say good evening. So, ignoring Europa news, just weird stalkery behaviour again. First in tonight was English Will. Happy Pikachu. So, Francis is here. Philomena is here. It's weird when you go like this. There's like no sound at all.
Is that
it's like dead space. It is, honestly. It throws me off. Good evening to Tash. Johnny Redpill Seed is here. Good evening. Daffod is here. Andrew is here. Johnny Not Powell is here.
But you saying you can hear the fridge kind of humming away there?
No, it's just like there's dead air when you mute. It's just there's nothing.
Fair enough. I never realised. Well, no, I knew there'd be. Well, I knew there would be like no audio coming through from me, but I expected that to be how it normally is. Basically, that's what I'm saying. This is very eloquent. Thank God I'm not an audio guy.
But when you and I usually speak, there's like this little kind of buzz in the audio. Just it's very faint, but I've become so used to it. It throws me when it's gone.
Oh, good. I'll do it when we go on a rant next time. See if I can throw you off. Just flicking it on and off constantly.
No. When I'm in rant mode, nothing distracts me. Anyway, right. So good evening, everyone who's joined us. Anyone who arrives after this point, a generic good evening to you. You were late, tough. Okay.
Normally it's me who says that.
Okay, so we've got an article that we'd like to discuss with you. You've probably seen the headline. Let's get this up on the screen. You've probably seen the headline already. This is chilling because I personally believe that this is going to set precedents that we will never, ever be able to put behind us. This is why we have to keep fighting for our rights to self-determination. Let's have a quick look through the article. So this woman is about to have a baby. She's agoraphobic, and a court has intervened because she wanted to have a home birth, and she can be forced to hospital for the birth. Court rules. So this is by Jennifer, can't even say that, Maya Hands? I don't know.
I think that's actually a pretty decent attempt.
Yeah, whatever. So this is, I don't think this is the woman, honestly, because if she is, that's the weirdest photo ever. It's like she's in her underwear. It's definitely not her. And also, that's a bit of a giveaway there. So, yeah, they're lying again, aren't they? Like, the woman and her hospital trust cannot be named for legal reasons. You just use a random pregnant woman.
Sorry, the hospital should be named. Like, named and shamed.
Well, I want to know...
As well, as a doctor that I am, allegedly, surely you would induce more stress upon her, which would cause actual complications, because you're forcing her out of her home.
Well, yes, she's agoraphobic, so she obviously doesn't leave her home unless it's a real emergency. I would say, though, that it's probably fair to say during these times, I'm going to be very careful here, a lot of people are afraid that they're going to go into hospital and not return because of what's going on.
Yeah.
This woman probably has more to fear than most because she's got this existing perception of reality that is probably extremely stressful. Anyway,
It'd be interesting to know how much of that was brought on about by lockdown as well.
Well, let's see if it's mentioned, shall we? Let's go through this. So medics can use force to take a pregnant... Can I just quickly say, by the way, cannot be named for legal reasons is usually to protect someone.
Mm-hmm.
So are they protecting the hospital that's forcing this? That applied to the courts to force this to happen? I don't imagine a judge was just like, oh, I'm going to involve myself in this case. The hospital must have applied to legally overrule her own decision about where she gives birth. Anyway.
This kind of also opens up another can of worms. Are they saying she's legally incompetent?
Well, I don't know. Let's read the article and then we'll find out.
They're forcefully hospitalising her. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. They're saying that she's not capable of caring for herself.
Well, let's see what they say and see what information we can glean from this article. Medics can use force to take a pregnant woman who has agoraphobia to hospital to give birth, a judge has ruled. Can use force. So this is not just about mandating this. Can use force.
A medical arrest. Force?
The 21-year-old has an overwhelming fear of leaving her home, the Court of Protection in London heard. The Court of Protection?
The protection of who?
Well, themselves, obviously. The government. The NHS.
Could you imagine if the mob set up a court and then called it the Court of Protection?
Well, they didn't call them protection. They didn't call them protection rackets for no reason, you know.
No, the protection racket is obviously taxation.
Yeah.
You know, it runs along the exact same premise. You pay me some money, and I won't send some guys around to your home/business to take you away. It's the same thing.
That's a nice business you got there. Shame if something happened to it. At least, you know what? At least the mafia were upfront about what they wanted.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, they don't engage in underhand tactics. They just outright say what they're going to do if you don't pay up.
Exactly. And we all know what the mob want. The mob want to go around calling each other wise guys in that way and doing the hand motion. That's the mob dream. That's what they do. Everything else is slander. Everything else is slander and lies. That wise guy thing. That's what they want to do.
Anyway, back to the article. I thought it'd be me having a rant today, going off on a tangent. Okay, so she's 21 years old. She has an overwhelming fear of leaving her home. The Court of Protection in London heard. Never heard of that. It would be interesting to find out who they are and who set that up. She wants home birth, as is her right, unless there is an emergency. But the NHS wants her to have the baby in a planned way in hospital due to the increased risks. Due to the increased risks if she gives birth at home. What risks? You don't say. Judge Mr. Justice Holman. Oh, it's a man. It's a man making a decision about a woman's body autonomy. Oh, I can't see this going down well. Said his ruling was in the woman's best interest. Maybe the woman can decide what's in her best interest. Maybe every individual should be allowed to decide what's in their own best interests. He concluded that proportionate force could be used by specially trained staff if she refused to leave home on a specified day near her due date. Is that not kidnapping? And what's proportionate? Who gets to decide what's proportionate?
Who gets to define what risk is?
And all of this basically boils down.
All of this basically boils down to the doctor has decided, thereby you're going to comply. And if you don't comply, we're going to send the heavies.
Well, it looks like doctors are taking a bit too much on themselves. We've got something else to show you in a bit.
I agree with Philomena. Why is he stressing out a pregnant woman? This is all you're doing. The woman doesn't want to leave her home anyway. She has a fear of leaving her home. What's the solution to this? I don't know. Send round Bert and Ernie to go kidnap her.
Maybe she just doesn't trust strangers to do what's best for her.
Maybe. Perfectly reasonable position.
What is this? So what is this proportionate force? Who are these specially trained staffs? Whose staff? Whose staff? Who do these people work for? What training have they had? What SAS special ops? I mean, who are they?
Xanth asked this as well. Who defines specially trained?
What are these professional kidnappers? I mean, what?
It doesn't say they're police.
The woman who the judge said lived far from London, or why is London interfering then with this at all, has barely left home in 4 years and had her scan at home. The judge said the woman's partner and mother thought she should give birth in hospital. Still, it's her choice. She is the mum-to-be. The woman and the NHS Trust cannot be named for legal reasons. Is that because the woman's fuming and the NHS Trust are acting illegally? Perchance. Ridiculous. Mr. Justice Holman, let's say his name again, why not, said evidence showed there was a risk there could be a catastrophe if she had a home birth. What is the risk? And are you a medically trained doctor? I think you should go to hospital and have this baby, he told the woman and her partner, who watched on video link. I think you should. I think. It will avoid potential risks and disaster if something goes wrong. I think it is better than some awful rush job in the middle of the night. How do you know it's in the middle of the night? What are you doing?
Surely the better option is to say we're going to try and have a home birth. The hospital will be on standby if something goes wrong.
And if there are any concerns nearer the time, we may need to bring you into hospital. Give us some choice.
At the end of the day, when you've got somebody like this, it's a rare situation. It is rare. Agoraphobia is not exactly a common thing.
Exactly.
Tell them a bit more slack and say, okay, this is what we can do. You're going to have the baby at home. No worries there. Knock yourself out, love. We're going to have a on standby just in case. Yeah. And then if anything does happen, the midwife she's going to call. There's going to be a priority ambulance. There you go. Knock yourselves out. What's difficult?
So this person said, I know it will be an ordeal for you. Well, if you know, why are you inflicting this on her then? Well, this is like that phrase you used to hear when you were a child. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. You know, we're about to get a spanking. Like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's going to hurt me more. It might hurt your hand, but it's going to hurt me more. Mr. Justice Holman, oh my God, how many times have you mentioned his name now?
What is with these weird love letters they're writing recently? They're so disturbing.
Female, just saying. Maybe the thing here. Mr. Justice Holman said evidence showed there was a... Oh, hang on, did I read that already? Yes, I did. Justice Holman, sorry, they've said his name so many times, I lost my place, concluded that the woman's agoraphobia meant that she did not have the mental capacity to make decisions about the birth of her baby. Since when? This is a phobia. She's not mentally ill. She's not deranged. She doesn't have the maturity of a 5-year-old. She just has a phobia. Agoraphobia is a condition which may include fears of leaving a safe place, being left alone, or in a situation where sufferers feel trapped, like trapping them in a hospital.
That one summed up pretty nicely, to be fair.
Oh my God. This sums up the irony. People can seek advice from NHS choices, especially when you don't have any. The GP betrayed you, or the Anxiety UK.
Well, we're going to be getting on the GPs in a moment. Don't worry about it.
Yes. So there you go. So basically, this is just rubbish. This is utter rubbish. This woman made a decision, and people have taken it upon themselves to override her choice as to where she has her baby, which is supposed to be in her home, and they are saying they can use proportionate force by especially trained kidnappers to take her to hospital against her will.
What he said at the end really summed that up. The agoraphobia means she doesn't have the mental capacity to do anything. Is that then going to be used in the future if they want to take that child away?
Well, if she refuses or causes a problem, this will go in her medical notes. Who is claiming, by the way? Is this the BBC claiming that this is a condition, Sorry, that her condition meant that she did not have the mental. Oh, no, it was the judge.
No, it's the judge. Yeah.
Again, are you a trained psychologist or a psychiatrist? And by the way, that's not true. I know people with this condition, and they are absolutely functioning people. They just do not like to go outside. They just feel anxious and stressed when they're outside, which I imagine, by the way, is most of the country at this point. No, of course it doesn't mean that. Unless this woman has other problems, which is possible, but they're not mentioned. So you can only conclude from what you can glean from this information that they've made up an additional handicap, let's say, based on the agoraphobia, which doesn't exist. And they are essentially telling her, we don't care what you want, you will go to hospital, and if you refuse, we will use proportionate force and assign people, specially trained people, to take you there against your will. And her GP and her midwife and everyone else involved in her pregnancy have all agreed to this.
There is another aspect to this where they say proportional force. That basically means everything that she does that forces them away, they can return as well, basically. So if she starts pushing them, they will then be able to restrain her.
Yeah. Well, proportionate is just a green light to adapt to the situation. Like.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they could potentially, worst case scenario, put her in a straitjacket, strap her arms behind her back, slap her onto a trolley, and put her in the back of an ambulance.
Johnny's got this dead on. On the same basis as saying she doesn't have the mental capability, they could argue she doesn't have the mental capability to make other decisions about her baby.
Yeah.
I think they're opening the door to that because this will be used in the future.
This is just revolting and scary because this potentially could be used against anyone for any reason. Daffyd says, although on paper it's outrageous, I have a feeling certain facts have been omitted due to sensitivity, i.e. she's a raving loony. As I said, that's potentially true, that they've omitted information, but based on the information they have shared, this is outrageous. This is ridiculous.
You can only judge by what you see as opposed to ifs and buts and candies and nuts. I do agree there is probably something else going on here, but this opens the door to a lot of things. This isn't good, especially with what we're going to see coming up in a moment. This is the start of the medical arrest that we're going to see.
Yeah, just real quick, Tash says, for no vaxxers perhaps. It doesn't mention whether or not this woman has had a vaccination. I presume she hasn't because she's pregnant. But even so, it is concerning that there is certain, let's say, a certain abuse of authority that appears to have come to light during the last year or so. So this is very concerning, and we should be keeping an eye on stories like this because they do not bode well for the rest of us. Anyway, yes. Back to what you were saying, Jordan. Sorry.
No, I wrapped up. I was good.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're talking about GPs and medical staff generally, and we're talking about their abuse of authority. And this is really what all of this has been leading up to, this particular leeway that authority will now have over us. One Easy Money says, when my father was in the hospital, they would ask him questions to determine his mental capacity, which his answers were correct. I don't like this at all. I mean, we used to obviously take better care of our people who were suffering from, issues. And we've kind of got to the point now where I think the issues have become so grey, like who has an issue, who doesn't, and what kind of issues there are and people's response to them. If this woman is a risk to her child or to herself, then fair enough. But it doesn't imply that at all in that story. I I thought I handled that quite diplomatically, and there's a reason for that. So
You did. Well
on
done.
our last stream, yeah, well, I was holding back a lot. On our last stream, I can't actually remember exactly what I said.
The last stream was, we had a section where we spoke about the COVID honeypot.
Yes.
About how this group was on Facebook and they were catching out the anti-vaxxers. That's the section that Joe's referring to, though neither of us actually remember what specific instance YouTube could have been referring to.
Yeah, I may have alluded to something that YouTube didn't like. Well, there's no may. Anyway, basically, we got told off. We got a slap wrist, and that video has been removed. So if anyone is looking for it, that's the reason why you cannot find it.
It's on Odyssey, and it was a damn good video.
It
was a really good stream.
But it's going to be.
You did not load it.
I downloaded it. If you remember, it took ages.
Oh, yeah, ages. Bloody hell. Poor Joe, she has to sit there for 15 minutes while the video downloads. Oh.
Hey, come on, it took a fair while, to be fair.
Meanwhile, it takes me bloody hours just to do anything.
Oh, this is a good point made by Will. Imagine if they used a question like, who won the 2020 US election to determine sanity? Scary thought. Because then, of course, there's the narrative and there's reality, isn't there? And that's all I'm going to say. I'm being good. Andrew says, using mental health as an excuse to kidnap and detain dissidents has long been used by totalitarian regimes. Yes, it has. So, this is just... I'd like to ask all of you, actually, to just keep an eye on stories like this. And if you find any, please feel free to let us know about them.
Yeah, pop them in Discord.
Yeah, and we'll see if we can cover some more of these. Because this is definitely setting a precedent that we cannot tolerate. We're not going to like the outcome of this.
One easy way has finished the rest of his sentence. I don't find it. His original message got cut in half. That's why it sounded a little bit weird.
Right.
What was the original part?
So you were talking about your father was questioned in hospital about his mental health, and based on his answers, to use his answers to questions to determine it. But they determined he was lying when he wasn't. Yeah, they can say anything. Again, this is an argument to authority. If somebody is in authority and they have authority over you, unfortunately, whatever they say goes. And this is just another example of it. Yeah, Johnny Red Pill Seed. We all know the answer to that one. I can't put that up on the screen. Well, I'm being good tonight.
For once.
For once, yes. No, come on.
You often are.
This is our first rap on the wrist, isn't it?
I'll be honest, I'm quite amazed at that, considering some of the things we've said, but fair enough. You know, YouTube decided that yesterday was the day, or the day before, whenever it was. That was the day.
Well, specifically, YouTube said that we can't say things that go against the WHO narrative. So, fair enough, YouTube, we are listening. Thank you for the warning.
So, from that, we then have saying that they're probably not going to approve of anyway, even though it's completely factual. Yeah,
you're going to hate this one, sorry. But there you go. We just want the truth, and we don't really care. We don't really care who it upsets or offends. We want to question things, and we want to hear the truth. And the truth is all that matters right now. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm about to play a video for you. Unfortunately, I didn't think to check how long it was. It
is 11 minutes.
Oh, there you go. So it's a long one. If you have people milling around, you might want to plug in some headphones to actually listen to what's going on in this video.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to hear at points, but you can certainly get the general gist of what is happening.
And I'll say before it starts that during this video, some claims are made that are never challenged. So listen out for all of it and just see what you think. But yes, if you can find a way to sit quietly, then you will be able to hear all of the audio you're about to hear. So thank you in advance, everyone. If anyone wants to make a brew or anything, in fact, do it quick. I'll give you a minute.
In that case, then, do you want to debut the video at 8 o'clock exactly? That way everyone has a time.
Yeah, let's do that. Right, 4 minutes, everyone. If anyone wants to go and make a cup of tea or anything, so you don't miss it. Because obviously it's live, so you can't pause. Well, you could pause it. I suppose you'd just be behind the chat, which is rubbish. because it's all about the chat. But
I
yeah,
thought it was about my dulcet tones, but okay, fine, thanks for ruining the illusion, I suppose.
It's very concerning that this is. Oh, Johnny Red Pill Seed, I'm sorry.
But delay your dinner. It'll be all right.
You'll have to watch the replay. I am going to go for a quick anything, Mr. 262. Okay. That's probably TMI. So yes, there you go. Everyone's got their brew. Right, 8 o'clock. We are going to wait for 3 minutes in case anyone has gone. If you're lurking, 8 o'clock, we promise.
We on time for this because we're already here. It's not like, we'll start the stream thing. And to be fair, we've gotten pretty good at starting the stream on time.
Some of us have gotten pretty good, haven't we?
What do you mean?
Okay. No, actually,
when have I been late?
Really?
When have I been late?
You're going there?
When have I been late recently?
No. Recently, you have improved.
Exactly. Thank you very much. It was only the one time I was significantly delayed because I was having a barbecue.
Okay. I'm gonna. If that's what you want to believe, I'm not going to argue. Picking on Mr. 262 while he's not here, says Rome Wood. It's always quick for Mr. 262. Okay. Right, it's almost time. So yes. There you go. That's it. Have to laugh. Everyone's got a sense of humour here because we're not crazy people. It's not rude. Well. It's just a good laugh. Right. Okay. So yeah. So what you're about to see and hear occurred in, I believe it's Ireland or Northern Ireland. I suck at accents, so apologies in advance.
No, it was Ireland.
And the scenario for this is that somebody is in someone else's home when it all kicks off. Okay, so this person's not even in their own home. And it's just truly terrifying that this can happen. And we all need to be aware of this.
It's the exact sort of thing that people have been warning against for decades. Yeah. And they've always been met with the same, you're a bit of a loon, where's your tinfoil hat?
Yeah, and other people said, don't be ridiculous, that would never happen.
Exactly, along with everything else. Here it is, along with the gay frogs and various other things. We're just waiting for the lizard queen now.
I knew you were going to bring up the gay frogs. I knew you were.
Because the gay frogs are so good.
It's so weird how that's like one of the craziest things, or it sounds like one of the craziest things he's ever said. Yeah. And it's one of the few that's absolutely verifiable.
Indeed.
So, okay, right. 8 o'clock it is. I hope everyone's settled down, get comfy. Here we go.
Play.
Yeah. Just try and listen very carefully if you can. It's important that we hear what's going on here. Enjoy, everyone.
Daft because I haven't broken any laws or done anything, have I?
No, you haven't.
So why are you here?
Your GP wanted another opinion.
He doesn't need another opinion because I didn't need his opinion in the first place.
And he's arranged to see.
I didn't need. If I want the doctor's opinion, I'll go to the doctor.
I know.
If I want the psychiatrist's opinion, I'll go to the psychiatrist. I didn't break any laws. I haven't done anything wrong.
We know that, Elena. We know that. And we're not saying that.
And I'm saying that you didn't.
So why are you here then?
You did not, as you suggested.
Why are you here then playing dress up?
We were instructed by the doctor to be here.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask him to do anything.
But he did it.
So he's doing it without my permission. I want a solicitor.
Where we are, in order for you to oversee the legality side of this, Ned is unfortunately going to have to call the guards to oversee the legality.
Well, tell them bring a solicitor with them then. Because they're not solicitors either, are they?
They don't ever bring solicitors with them, do they?
Yeah, before someone takes you away somewhere, yeah, you're entitled to have someone there to represent you. You can't have people just come dressed up like that, drag you out the door, can you?
This is standard PPE COVID.
You're allowed to dress up like that, just go run around the country and drag people out of their homes, put them in hospital.
We have to dress up like this.
They don't break no laws.
It's very uncomfortable, but we have to.
Does matter, it's stupid. It's against the law, it's illegal.
So why?
What? Because why are you doing it to me?
We're not doing it to you, but
It's me sat here, you're doing it to me.
our job is to come in and escort people into hospital for an assessment.
Why do I need to go for an assessment?
Well, that's between you and your doctor when you go in. But Dr. Daly has signed the legal document, Sabina. He's very clear and very explicit that he wants you to be...
Why do I need to go for an assessment? If I want to go to a doctor, if I need a doctor, I'll go to him. I didn't go to him.
I appreciate
So
that.
what he done was illegal. He came into my house.
Well, that's between you and him then.
Well, so then I need a solicitor to sort it all out then. I'm not a hospital isn't going to sort that out.
No, you have to go to the
I need a solicitor to sort that out.
No, you have to
He
go.
shouldn't even be in here without permission.
Can I explain to you? You have to go to the hospital for the assessment.
You can't just make things up. You have to. You can't do that.
I'm
Do you even know the law yourselves?
I'm very clear.
Do you know the law?
Well, yes,
Do you know the law?
We do, yes.
we're very clear on it.
You think it's normal to come in dressed up like that? Somebody who sat on their phone. I'm sat here on my phone minding my business, no problem to nobody. And you come in dressed like that, up like that, and tell them they have to go into a
Why
hospital.
do you think we're dressed like this?
Why are you dressed like that?
COVID.
You know why.
There's no COVID in here, that's in the hospital.
I'm not saying that...
Well, we don't want to bring it into your house and we don't want to bring it into the hospital. We're obliged to wear this just to
That's our
prevent that.
protocol.
You'd prevent it if you hadn't come in the first place, wouldn't you?
We're instructed by the doctor to come. But you can ignore that sentence if you like, but it's true. That's a true sentence.
I didn't ask my doctor. If I need a doctor, I'll go to the doctor. If I need a hospital, I'll go to the hospital. I don't need either of them, so you don't need to be here.
You're ignoring the other part of the conversation. If you want it, that's fine, but you shouldn't.
I think
If you won't come with us, you have to be obliged.
I think now, if this is what I'm going to say, the Gardaí are on their way, and the Gardaí will actually...
Well, do they have a solicitor? They're going to bring a solicitor with them.
No.
No.
They have powers under Section 13(3) of the Mental Health.
To do whatever they want and get away with it. Is that their powers, is it?
No.
To do whatever they want and get away with it.
No.
Go in and kidnap people out of their homes.
I want to be very clear to you now, Irina. You will be afforded all the rights under the Mental Health Act and under the European Court of Human Rights.
Where's my rights to sit down and sit down in my parents' house and watch videos on my phone?
Yeah, you'll be entitled to...
There's a whole estate full of people on their phones and in watching TV. Why aren't you going after them? Am I not allowed to sit down in here on my phone?
No, this is between you, Doctor. This is between Dr. Daly in the hospital, and you're the person mentioned.
I'm not on medications, and I don't have a psychiatrist, and I don't need a psychiatrist.
That's okay. That's okay.
So why are you here?
Because we are legally bound to take you for that assessment, and we have to.
For what assessment?
Dr. Daly would like to an assessment on a mental health.
What is it? Home kidnappings, is it?
No, mental health assessment. I mean, we'll show you, right? You know.
That's a kidnapping. That's not an assessment. As if I go in and do it myself. This is kidnapping. What you're doing?
We're not kidnapping.
What is kidnapping? Someone sat in their home, and you come dressed up like that, and you're taking them away. That's kidnapping.
We're dressed up just for health reasons, and you know.
That's not for safety.
You do know it.
I was safe here, sat in my phone, minding my own business.
I've seen people in this gear for the last 6 months in Ireland. Every hospital in the country is wearing gear like this.
But this isn't a hospital. This is a home.
We're healthcare workers.
So they can go into the hospital and look after them in there.
We're obliged and instructed to be here, and that's why we're here. Look, it's not you that come to here. We get that. We understand.
It's ridiculous. It's a joke. That's what it is.
It is the news.
No, I'm not going with
It
you.
is the news.
Before the guards come.
Let the guards come. Let them tell them bring a solicitor.
Helena.
That won't help any of us.
This isn't helping me. I'm just sitting here minding my own business. I'm not bothering nobody.
I know.
I'm not on medications.
We're not disputing any of that. But what we're saying is that Dr. Daly wants an assessment done.
Well, then I'll go down to Dr. Daly and we can do
He
that.
wants that done.
But I'm not going into no
We
hospital.
want somebody else, you know.
I'm not going into no hospitals. You can bring up the guards and the solicitor if you want.
Yeah.
Sitting down here minding my own business, watching videos on my phone, drinking a cup of coffee, and you come in dressed up like that.
I know.
Like nurses in a hospital.
That's the way
But this isn't a hospital. This is a family
That's what
home.
we're like. We're like
This is a family home.
We're dressed up like nurses in a hospital.
Yeah.
We're obliged
So
to.
this is a family home. You don't need to come in here dressed like that, intimidating people.
Come here. Look, we'll have to cut to the chase here. Do you understand what's going on here? What's going on?
Yeah, you're trying to intimidate me and kidnap me and put me into a hospital.
The guards will be here to overview the legality of this. Accordingly, it will be perfectly legal.
There won't be. If it had anything to do, how would it be legal if them lot come in?
You can ask the guards that. You can ask me that. You can ask Kathleen that. But it will be.
It'd be legal, so I'm bringing them lot up and no solicitor there to represent me, no? Or nobody else to represent me. Just me trying to defend myself against a lot of you, is it?
We brought you news that you don't like. I understand that. Of course, you didn't expect. Of course, you didn't expect.
I have to defend myself against ye, the three of you, a load of guards in a hospital, is it? Because I want to sit on my phone and drink a cup of coffee.
Nate has rang us and the guards are coming.
I'm not allowed to sit down on my phone, watch videos and drink a cup of coffee.
What will the guards do when they come?
What?
What will the guards do when they come here?
I don't know what they'll do. They'll make stuff up, I suppose.
They won't. They will be instructed by us to enforce.
How are they instructed by you? I don't have a psychiatrist. I'm not under any care of anybody. I'm not on medications, and I've no intention of ever taking any medications other than the one I take for my heart. So what are you here for?
It's going to boil down to will you come with us or will you come with the guards?
Neither of you.
No, that's not the third option.
I'm not going with any of you.
That's not an option.
How is that not an option?
Because the phones are legal and written, because we're instructed, because the guards are instructed. I can't say it any more gently or easier than that.
People aren't allowed to sit down and watch videos now. Drink a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Where's your families? Your family's at home?
At home,
watching
yes.
TV, drinking tea or coffee. Can I dress up like that and go ring the guards and have them dragged out? Can I go into your home if I dress up like that? If I dress up like that, can I go into their home?
It's no more than that.
Can I go into their home and take them out and put them in hospital?
Only you have a legal facility to do that.
What legal facility do you have? I've no one to represent me, so you could be making anything up.
I know.
Well then,
Well, look, the guards will say
you could say anything. I don't believe anything you say unless there's a solicitor there or someone to represent me, someone who knows. You could say anything.
I'll make one final thing, and this is my final shot. It's going to come down to will you come with us or go with the guards?
Neither.
You'll be going either way. The guards have no choice.
They've no choice.
Come with us.
Well, they could make up more nonsense, look.
Now, we'll move on. I told you, Helena, that I'd ask the guards to come up.
I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going with the guards either.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything. I haven't broke any laws.
Now, Helena, this is...
I'm Garda Dave Scanlon, Helena. Okay? And this, my colleague will be coming in here and I'll talk to Garda Pat Knockton, okay?
Right, so what are you here for?
Okay. Unfortunately, you're going to have to come along.
I'm not going along. I'm not going with you.
These people,
I wasn't arrested. I haven't broken any laws. I haven't done anything wrong.
Unfortunately, there is paperwork there, okay?
What paperwork is that?
In terms of committing you.
Right, will you bring a solicitor so I can talk to somebody or have somebody else represent me?
You would, when you go to the hospital, it's when you're entitled to an independent solicitor, and an independent doctor from the doctors will see you there.
I want to see a solicitor. I'm not going into the hospital.
There won't be any.
I'm not sick.
I'm not saying anything that you're sick. I've never said you were
So
sick.
why would I go into a hospital if I'm not sick? I'm not sick. I'm not on any medications.
Because there's a legal document signed there.
What legal document? Show me proof of a legal document and let my solicitor look at it and then we'll see. I'm not going anywhere with you, and if you do, it's kidnapping.
When you go into the hospital, you have the right to ask for that document.
I'm not going into the hospital.
Well, you know, we can spend hours talking here.
We could spend hours. I'm not going into the hospital. It's kidnapping. Do you not know what kidnapping is? When you go into someone's property and remove them without their consent, or without having someone to represent them. There's nobody here to represent me. There's 5 strangers in my room.
And I know it's probably very frightening for you that we're here, but
I'm not frightened. I think it's stupid. I think you're doing is wrong.
Look,
You know it's wrong. So why are you here then?
We have a job to do. We're employed by the HSE to do this. And when there's a legal implication of somebody going for an assessment, which has been authorised by a GP, whether it is wherever part of the country we're in, we actually have to carry out.
I'm not allowed to have nobody represent me. I'm not going along with you. I want a solicitor. You shouldn't even be in here. You shouldn't even be in here. No, you shouldn't even be in here.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to come with us one way or the other.
No, you shouldn't even be in here.
Okay?
No.
Everything's been explained, you know, Helena, okay?
Where's my solicitor?
Solicitor,
The farm, the bar, those,
you will actually have to.
So there you have it. A couple of things I want to say. Again, we do not know the background of this, but this woman made the same claim several times that she was not in treatment or under a diagnosis for any mental health problem. So they had ample opportunity to correct her, to say, actually, that's not true, and it's not true. They didn't. So I don't actually believe that she had any prior knowledge of this, and I don't actually believe that there was some kind of history, because they could have shut her down in seconds.
Exactly. That's exactly what they would do. If you are to commit somebody who is not mentally capable of making decisions for themselves, the first thing you would do is try to make them understand they are actually a danger to themselves. You would say, look,
you talk someone
the
down.
doctor would be there as well, I would imagine, in fairness. Also, she would, if I remember rightly, she was committed by a GP and not a mental health professional.
And I'm wondering, those men in those suits, are they the same kind of people that are going to turn up for that pregnant lady in that article we just covered? Are these the specially trained persons?
I would imagine they are, even though they're in Ireland and we're not. I would imagine it's the same sort of people.
It's just very concerning, because as everyone could tell, well, almost everyone could tell from that video, she was perfectly calm, perfectly rational. She asked pertinent questions like, "Why are you here? On whose authority? What right do you have?" They mentioned paperwork. "Oh, we can kidnap you because there's paperwork." Utter rubbish.
And when
it again comes down. Go on, sorry.
And when she questioned them on that, they then said, "You can see it at the hospital." It's basically like being arrested by the police and then not being told what you're charged with or much of anything at all. Just a copper
You'll find out why we're
"Okay, mate,
arresting
you're
you
nicked."
once we've got you in handcuffs in a cell.
The other thing as well, I don't think this would come under any sort of like arrest protection, because they weren't arresting her; they were committing her.
Although technically, by calling in the police, wouldn't she then have a right to something?
No, because you're still being committed. It's just the police have come in to help it because they are more trained.
Andrew says part of the COVID Act allows kidnapping on mental health grounds to be done with only one authorization. What if that one authorization is not acting in good faith? This is the problem with trusting authority. If authority decides to abuse that trust, you are in a bad position. So Aramis, I'm not sure, but as Jordan says, because she wasn't actually being arrested, and of course, unfortunately, the video closed off there, so we don't know what happened after. My stepdad's not mean says she was perfectly lucid. As far as I'm concerned, she was perfectly reasonable, rational, calm. She was asking them questions.
She was more calm than I would have been.
I would have lost it way sooner than that.
You would have gone nuclear when they appeared at the bottom of your road.
Well, it comes down to somebody let them in. Now, it's possible that a family member let them in. She clearly didn't let them in.
Exactly. That's the most probable.
But even so, they're on private property, and private property does count even if you're renting. They still need good reason to be there. So they've basically walked into, from what I can glean, is her parents' home. Not even her home. So it does make you wonder if her family's involved somehow. How would they know where to find her?
But without a doubt,
that's scary.
Without a doubt, her family has played a role in this somehow. Not sure how exactly, we'll never know, but it does appear that way.
Well, somebody notified the authorities that she was at that location, because that's not her home address, and she says so in the video.
Exactly. So, yeah, just it's very interesting and very worrying.
So anyway, again, there's very little information to sort of pre-existing context for this video, but it's the way that they treated her. It is the way that it's the fact that they told her that they have paperwork and therefore they're fully justified in what they're doing. That just her doctor, her GP, who they said by name, ordered this. GPs are not supposed to be capable of making these kinds of diagnoses, which is why you are referred to a mental health unit.
One minute. That's in this country. We don't know about Ireland. I would imagine it's very much the same.
would imagine GPs anywhere. They're called general practitioners for a reason.
Yeah, they're general. They're jack of
They're
all
not
trades at
specialists.
best. Basically, a GP is, or my experience with GPs anyway, it's maybe the same for other people, it may be different, I don't know. They're basically a glorified receptionist for real doctors.
Whoa, that's a bit harsh. I will say,
It's
though,
true. My
I did.
doctor's useless. Whenever family members have to go and see him, it's like, okay, I can't do much. I'll send you to the specialist.
Well, I did once have an appointment with a GP, and I'm not even joking. I had several things that were an issue, and they looked them up during the appointment in a book. So I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? I could do this at home.
Yeah,
what the hell are you being paid for? Johnny Not Powell says another reason to start welding gates on doors and windows. It's not even a joke at this point in time. Just be very vigilant. Be very careful. You've got to remember as well that this deliberate division between families, it's possible that this woman actually had issues. Of course, it's possible. It's also possible that there was nothing wrong with her and she had a falling out with her family. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. 262.
This could be a very, a weird thing about the abortion stuff going on over.
It could be anything. People are not behaving very rationally right now. Some people. Anyway, Miss 262 says, imagine interrupting Jo when she's drinking coffee and eating her shortbread. Bad move. The fact that you remembered I like coffee and shortbread, it's just, that's lovely. But yeah, don't mess with my shortbread. That's all I'm saying.
Do you know the shortbread that comes in the little red box?
The little red box.
Yeah, right.
I like the tail petticoat tails. Is that what they're called?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, look it up. It's gorgeous.
I meant the Walker's shortbread in the little tart red box.
I don't consume Walker's products.
They're not.
Gary
Lineker
has
Walkers.
destroyed
They're
Walkers.
not those Walkers. No, they're different Walkers. They're Scottish Walkers. Different. Completely. This company.
Oh, let's have a look.
Random Segway.
No. I have had them. The ones on the left, the fingers are okay. See the ones. See that box there? Oh, Patterson's, nasty. It's not good shortbread. See that's petticoat tails. See.
This is very nice. What's wrong with you, Joanne?
No, it's not. It's called all butter. No, rubbish. Absolute cheap rubbish. Do not buy it.
Okay, this for tomorrow.
You just don't buy that one.
I'm not putting up with this slander. Anyway.
Cyborg says, and again, we don't know what the rules are in Ireland, to be fair. Cyborg 1320 says, if there's section in her, it would need a written assessment by a clinical professional or non-clinical mental health practitioner. But as Andrew pointed out, under COVID legislation, all rules have changed. So we don't actually know what you can do or cannot do now, and whether the kind of processes that were in place before are still in place. They are legal drug dealers, says Hasdak. They are GPs. How many times can anyone think of a time they've gone to their GP? In fact, I can think of one time when I did. Well, you've gone to a GP for a problem and they haven't just thrown tablets at you.
I'm trying to remember the last time I personally went to a doctor.
Well, I'm never going again. But Will says a GP in the US is usually pretty good, and people want the NHS here. Yeah, just tell everyone you know. Don't do it. Zan says I got diagnosed by Google once. It was the wrong diagnosis. Is anyone surprised? Will says I was.
Sorry.
Oh, go on. Sorry. I'm just going to read this. It's funny. I was diagnosed via Twitter, says Will. They prescribed hormones and a sex change. Oh, definitely don't do it. Oh, please tell me this is the start of a joke. Oh, it is. Bad news about shortbread, says Johnny Not Powell. They're not making it any longer. But
it took a second to get there.
It took me a second, as I thought there was part two. Yes, this is a good point by English Bird. I know some of us don't like carrying smartphones, but it might be an idea to get one to film, or we can't prove anything. I think honestly, at this point in time, record everything.
Go out in a body cam.
I do think that's a
Be
good
like
idea.
those crazy Russian drivers with the webcams on constantly.
That is cheap, nasty shortbread. Yes, it is. It really.
No. We're done with the shortbread. We're talking about the shortbread tomorrow. You're wrong. I'm right. Just accept it.
No, you have to go and buy some and then compare the taste to the decent shortbread, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not good. It's just not good.
Just don't be wrong.
It claims to be all butter. Well, I don't know what they think butter is, but it's not buttery. And it's not. When you bite into a finger of shortbread, it's supposed to like melt in your mouth. It's supposed to be soft and crumbly and gorgeous. And this is not. It's like a hard biscuit.
Yeah, that's why it's nice, isn't it?
No, it's rubbish. Will says
coming back to this tomorrow.
The majority of American shortbread isn't even made with butter. We do have Walkers here, though. Pepperidge Farm is okay, too. If it's not made with butter, it's not legit, honestly. Jonathan, of course you do. Jonathan, maybe you can teach us all how to make the best shortbread ever. Johnny Red Pill Seed says most GPs blame smoking on most ailments. And it's interesting. A lot of GPs smoke as well. The hypocrisy is amazing. Johnny Not Pal. I wish I could read that one out, but it's a bit gross. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan says, yes, my GP was good. It was really good. Didn't put me on alternatives for drugs. I think generally, I do think generally that they do resort to pharmaceuticals because it's easy, right? It's just, write a prescription next and the conveyor belt continues. Mm-hmm. But there are doctors who stand out, of course, from the rest. They're so very rare. If you have a great doctor, keep them.
Keep them in the basement.
It's been a tough week, says Johnny Not Pal. I need a laugh. Sorry, Wardens. Well, we're going to have a laugh then. We're moving on from this. Just to say...
I want to cover this, just one more thing about this woman specifically.
Go on then.
If she was nuts, do you not think they'd have a piece of paper and they'd say, look, love, read the piece of paper. This piece of paper says you're nuts. That's why we're taking you in. Surely that would be the first thing they do.
It seems like they had plenty of opportunities to just shut her down, shut all of her arguments down. They didn't use any of them.
Yeah, they didn't do anything at all. If anything, they just kind of... They just proved a point. They kidnapped her.
Yeah.
Regardless, it doesn't matter if you have a piece of paper that says you've kidnapped her. The only reason the piece of paper is important is because wider society deems it like morally binding or correct. Anybody who looks over that, if she is indeed correct in that she doesn't have any mental illnesses or anything else, nobody looking at that could ever possibly look at the piece of paper and say, yeah, the piece of paper is true. No, the piece of paper that they were given is complete nonsense.
It's especially concerning because at the moment they're doing this to adults. But when they start to intervene with your ability to raise your children, that has to come. That always follows, does it not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just everyone be very vigilant. And I mean, these are two examples. I'm sure there are many more. I'm not saying this is across the board, and I don't want to have people worried about things that may never happen to them or occur for them. But the reality is we are now living in a time where authority must be obeyed at all times for all reasons. And if you dare to think for yourself, you tend to be demonized and punished. And of course, that's exactly why we're in the place that we are. So anyway, was there anything else you wanted to add on this before we lighten the tone somewhat?
No, that was it. I'm good.
Okay, so yeah, if you find any other videos or if you come across anything else similar to that, please do share it on Discord or drop something in the Telegram chat. If you would be so kind, we'd very much appreciate it. So let's talk about We've got quite a few bits to cover over the next few weeks. As always, Saturday night's going to be funny because we need a laugh too. And I wonder what the chat thinks of let's talk about taking on serious topics or just being a bit more lighthearted. It is Friday evening, after all, but we just felt we had to mention this. So let's see what the chat think. So let's have a 1 in the chat if you want to talk about hard-hitting subjects. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to win this. Or a 2 if you want Friday evening. Let's talk about to be a bit more lighthearted. This is interactive. This channel, you actually get a say in what happens, unless of course your opinion is crazy, in which case we'll ignore you.
Oh, is that what for me? Fair enough.
So, a couple of you want hard-hitting topics. I think the winner is going to be light-hearted. Philomena's being diplomatic with a 3 there, so is Andrew.
I think it is in the balance. It could be both. I think starting heavy and then fun, I think that's the way to go. Because then it's a nice balance. Because you can't just have fun all the time, then you just put your head in the sand and nothing gets done.
That's true. Hasdak, I'd love to answer your question, but I can't because we're on a warning now. Mr. 262 says, 2, rag on Jordan more for his poor biscuit choices.
I don't understand what's wrong with you. How do you have such poor taste?
Oh.
I'm not accepting Joe's criticism of my biscuit.
Hang on a minute. We want to talk about my poor taste. I've chosen you as my co-host.
Fools you, innit?
Do you want to take that back, or do you want to concede?
What do you mean
I've made a terrible mistake.
What do you mean you chose me as your host? You didn't choose me. You bullied me into it. You did. I very well remember. You bullied me into this. You know I'm right because she's just laughing.
I'm laughing because you're hilarious. David said, needs to be constructive. We've all seen plenty of rage porn. Yes, we have. We thought that was important to share. Solutions. The obvious solution, again, to any of this kind of shenanigans that are going on is to make sure someone always has your back.
I don't really think that one, either article tonight, I don't really think counts as rage porn. Because it's useful. Well, no. It's an actual, like, it's two things that are very similar happening in two different nations.
Well, that's true. That's true. And it's not like we sit here raging and telling people to, go and gear up and fight this, fight this on the streets. What we're saying is just be vigilant, be aware. Be aware that this is happening and make sure that you are never in this position. I still do think, though, that community is the answer to most of life's problems right now. Mr. 262 says, Jordan, Farley's rusk is the same as shortbread, probably.
Wait, 1 minute. First things first, no, Farley rusk is amazing. Secondly, since when is it Farley's rusk?
That's what we've always called them. What do you call them?
I thought it was Farley. I didn't realise there was an S.
What?
Since when is there an S?
Since always?
I don't believe you.
Has there been a time when it was just Farley? Jonathan's mentioned Farley. You're just making stuff up now.
I'm not making anything up.
You totally no. Come on, no, not having this.
Why is it Farley's rusk when my name is Jordan?
What?
Why am I stealing Farley's rusk?
What?
The S, the apostrophe means this here. It means it's a possessive. It means this rusk is owned by Farley, yet mine not Farley. Why am I eating another man's Farley rusk?
I don't know. This is getting really weird. Please stop. Jonathan says, is anyone going to the freedom rallies tomorrow? Just changing the subject there really rapidly. Is anyone going to the freedom rallies tomorrow? And as always, a reminder to go and stand in your local park. Monty says, PG Tips advert, please. Oh, we could slip a PG Tips advert in. Of course, when I say a PG Tips advert, of course, there's only one that Jordan loves.
The PG Tips.
Andrew says, reduce your interaction with the regime as much as possible. Be the grey man. Well said. Yes, be the kind of everyman. Be the man whose face isn't remarkable, whose actions aren't remarkable, who doesn't stand out. Oh, well done, Cyborg. If anyone does go to this rally and wants to send in any video, we'll happily, again, we'll give you a shout out on the stream. If you'd like
I believe there's a big rally on the 29th or 28th.
There's one tomorrow.
Yeah, but there's a special one happening then. I don't know. Nick kind of mentioned it and that was it. There you go. Nick will be at one tomorrow.
Arthur says, culture and community are superior to politics. Well said.
Agreed.
Totally agree. Mr. 262 says the S is for plural because you can't just have one Rusk. That could probably be the thing that stops the argument right there.
Then wouldn't it be Farley Rusks?
Don't start. Mr. 262 says Rusk Inception.
Ruskception.
Ah, Johnny Red Pill Seed. Brilliant. Why you grey? What are you grey? Yes, Nick will be at the rally tomorrow. So if anyone's there and you see Nick, say hello. 29th Dover. I do believe now, Cyborg, I believe it was moved from St. James. No, was it moved to or from St. James Park? Apparently the El Quds guys were going to turn up at one of them. Was it Hyde Park? Whichever one it was, it's now at the other. If it was at Hyde Park, it's now St. James. If it was at St. James, it's now Hyde Park.
But to be fair, it's not that big of a deal. You can walk from one to the other.
Yeah, but just, just be very careful. Always, again, be vigilant. There we go. So it has been moved. I know Nick said it had been moved.
This was sent in from Jonathan. He's asked us to put this up. I have no idea what's about to happen, so I'm trusting him here. Are you ready, Joe?
Yeah, we can trust Jonathan. Go for it. Big boy for you, please. That was wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. Jordan, your internet sucks so hard. I don't even know what to tell you.
You should have played it, to be fair.
Yeah, I should have really. But I can't
I'm not
grab
sure
the
why
link.
you did. It's very rude of you.
Well, because I can't grab the link. I can only put the link on the screen. But you could have sent it to me. The London Biggie is the 29th. Need everyone there, says Xanth. So well said, Xanth. Johnny Redpool Seed says, society is better than the state. Yes, yes, and more yes. Okay. They're protesting at the BBC tomorrow, says Monty.
Good. What's the protest about?
Maybe you can let us know, Monty. Arthur says London is not part of England. It really isn't beginning to feel like it's part of England at all. It's certainly not representative of the English people, which is a real shame. I grew up in London and I can never return. So, Zant says it's the Palestine conflict protest starting at Hyde Park. So, in fact, yes, Hyde Park was the original venue and it has now moved to St. James Park. Please, nobody make the mistake of going to Hyde Park, because I have a feeling that people are very emotional about what's happening, and the protests are probably going to result in, well, let's just say, high emotions. I'm being very careful what I say here.
Here's the basic thing. At one, you're likely to run into Jeremy Corbyn. At the other, you're not.
Yes.
Go away from Jeremy Corbyn at all times.
Yeah, make your choice. It's Jeremy or Piers.
Exactly.
I know which brother I'd rather hang with.
What, Piers Brosnan?
No, no, Piers Corbyn. You were thinking of the other Piers, weren't you?
Piers Morgan.
Mr. 262 says, any comment on the French army letters and could that happen in the UK? Yeah, we can talk about this very briefly.
Didn't we cover that on Tuesday?
Well, a little bit.
Saturday. When did we cover that?
You covered it on last Friday because I wasn't here.
There we go. I knew I covered it recently.
So, but obviously Mr. 262 is unaware. So what are your thoughts on this? The French army, of course, this is a bunch of French generals and higher-ups essentially casting a vote of no confidence in Macron. And would you say basically telling him to step up or step off? Or just step off?
My opinion is kind of smokes and mirrors a little bit.
Okay.
I do think there's some genuine aspect to it, but I don't really know enough. I'm trying to remember more of the article that I read.
Do you want to quickly find it while I go through some comments?
I have no hope of finding it.
Basically, they're pretty done with his handling of, well, everything, really.
What I do remember about the article is that the majority of the population agreed with the letter. It was 58% of people agreed with the first letter. I don't know about the second letter. I haven't read it yet, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of majority I was hoping for. That's tight.
58% still isn't bad.
Although 50% of France is not French, so that's not really surprising, is it? Which means people made a real effort to make up for the lack of actual French people in France. I want to say just about that protest video, actually. It looks like, not to cast aspersions on the lack of diversity, but it looks like a European uprising. And my question is this. For people who obviously don't trust Western governments because of previous issues, why aren't they out there protesting with the rest of us? I'm really surprised. But it's good to see so many people not accepting the narrative and thinking for themselves. So good on them. Mm-hmm. And well done, everyone who has the means and the opportunity to get along to a protest. We're so very proud of all of you. Johnny Not Powell says, imagine if everyone who wanted change turned up in London on Monday in their car and parked outside Westminster. That would be amazing to see.
Do it now. Don't wait a couple of months or you're going to have to pay that 15 quid congestion charge thing.
Seriously. Right, let's have a look. Loads and loads of stickers here.
There was a couple of insults about my poor little hamster.
From Philomena. The hamster doesn't
Not
have
just
that
Philomena.
Friday feeling because Jordan hasn't fed him yet. Jordan's internet is powered by a steam engine, says Aramis. Is that the one?
I wish it was powered by a bloody steam engine. It will be absolutely indestructible and it will be quite speedy.
Mini Emperor Hammy has returned. Oh, wow. Okay, things are getting serious now. Johnny Redpool C says, Jordan Internet transmits using punch cards. Jobby Dodger, what a name, says, I haven't paid council tax for a year. Good on you. English Bird says, should stand outside the palace. Mr. 262 says, you're less likely to get your head cracked at the Palestine protest, probably.
I agree with that. Is there going to be a pro-Israel protest as well or not?
I've got to say, from an optics perspective, Israel's looking pretty damn bad right now, and that's all I'm going to say on it.
The optics are quite spectacular.
Mr. 262 says there has been a second letter now regarding the French generals. I'm unfamiliar with this, Mr. 262. Maybe we'll have a brief talk about this tomorrow. Johnny Redpool Seed says US veterans have written a similar letter. Good. They're talking about the new normal, that they want change and they want to keep us on our toes. So good. What is the female speaker of this channel's name? My name is Joanne. Hello and welcome to the channel. Home time for uninvited guests. Well, the thing is, I mean, you know, if you're going to go into someone's country and you're going to behave in a way that is unacceptable, then of course you're going to be unwelcome. That's a reasonable position for anyone to hold. Johnny Powell says the French lorry drivers and fishermen know how to protest. A walk around London on Saturday will get nothing done. I don't like the weekend protest. I do agree with you, because that's when all the people who make a life out of being unemployed and then bemoaning the fact that nothing good ever happens to them, that's when they turn up.
Surely that's when they'd turn up in the week.
Well, they used to say, didn't they, during the Brexit protests and that the reason why there weren't a lot of pro-Brexiteers on these protests because they had them on the weekend and they were too busy at work. Mr. 262 says, French on the brink of a civil war and sabre rattling against the Brits. It all feels comfy and familiar. This performance thing, this Brexit thing, and the Royal Navy ships, and France threatened to cut off Jersey's power, and it's just interesting. But we've been there so many times. Of course,
distraction. It allows both nations to posture.
Yeah,
it allows both leaders to look strong and competent, because both nations have kind of backed down a little bit, and that's what they like. They've got their two pawns facing up against each other and kind of nudging each other softly, all the while remembering that pawns take on the diagonal and not a straight line, so it doesn't matter.
When you say pawns, do you mean prawns? I'm just checking.
No, like a chess pawn.
Oh, okay. Macron is a banker at the end of the day. And he's about as gifted or endowed in the masculinity department as that little teeny tiny Napoleon was. He has no one's respect. He's another shill. He's another shill for the establishment, for the globalists, and everyone hates him for that reason.
Exactly. He also, I'd like to point this out as well, he also had the exact same career path that Rishi Sunak has had.
Yeah, interesting that. And wasn't Sunak at one point being pushed as the replacement PM?
Oh, he still will be, don't worry.
Which I hate so much.
Absolutely.
Mr. 262 suggesting your hamster is on rusks. Disappointing.
Bloody Farley's rusk, apparently.
Aussie DM says, doing my own protest to lower the price of Freddos. Good on you. This is from Andrew. Some say he whines a crack. A crack? Do you mean a crank? I hope you mean a crank. He winds a crank to power the internet, and then he makes his tea with a jet engine. All we know is he's called Jordan. That's so good.
That's what I burst out with laugh earlier on.
Hi, Jobby Dodger. It's good to have you here. Joe's going to the gulag. Yeah, probably. Arthur says occupied Britain is twinned with occupied France. That's the only thing we have in common. Sorry, Will. I was comparing their physique. They're both teeny tiny men. Hasdak is asking, any Saab mechanics in the house? Genuine question. No, he is not, Arthur. He is not English. He'll never be English. This is not a group you can just join because you want to identify as such.
It's not like a library card. You can just buy it. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. France have less dinghies than UK. Here's a little known fact about the dinghies, which I found out. The dinghies that they invade us with get returned to the other end to be reused. Now you could argue that this is great that they're recycling, but it's not great because we want them to stop. Mr. 262 says Jordan eyeballing.
One second. Go on.
Jordan eyeballing his bandwidth in the shed and smoothing it out with sandpaper. I don't know what that means. That sounds like M&S porn. I don't know why. That's so weird.
It's not just any bandwidth. It's M&S bandwidth.
Oh, God. It means it's overpriced.
Anyway, as I was saying.
And extremely disappointing.
When it comes to the dinghy recycling thing, this means that some poor little lad is going to have to carry that bloody dinghy in a box all the way over from Pakistan or Ethiopia.
Whoa.
They don't even have water in Ethiopia. What's the lad meant to do?
What do you mean, some poor little lad? These people are criminals.
Well, I'm just saying, they're making him work, aren't they?
These people are criminals. They're either selling other human beings or trading them, or they are illegally entering our country, which by default makes them criminals.
Question. If they're recycling the dinghies, when they get into the Med, why do they need the people trafficker? Just get on the dinghy. It's in the box. You've just carried this dinghy all the way from Ethiopia.
They're all with a box under their arm. It's not. They haven't been to Argos.
How else are they? They've got to send it in a box.
Do you think they've got a dinghy pickup point?
I'm just. The question it remains, right? If these people are recycling the dinghy, why are they being people smuggled? Just get in the dinghy, you idiots.
Well, just technically, they're dinghy smugglers, aren't they? They're technically dinghy smugglers, in which case they're not actually breaking the law. People using the dinghies just happen to, like it's like a pylon. It's like uninvited guests at a party. And it was just supposed to be me, Your Honour, I promise. I will say, with all the skills we have in this community, why isn't someone here making dinghies that have a little patch that evaporates over time?
Oh.
So some kind of, I don't know, when it's in contact with water, it kind of dissolves.
And it's wet.
That would be great. Or if you could just time it. Maybe after like 2 hours in the water. No, hang on. How long does it take to cross the channel in a dinghy? It has to be in the middle of the channel.
I reckon it'll take them a while. At the end of the day, they're not exactly rowing across, are they?
Let's say an hour. So we need someone to make some kind of biodegradable patch that after an hour of contact with water, it dissolves. Or the whole dinghy can... There you go, Aria says it. The whole dinghy can dissolve, because why not? That would...
Hey, it's biodegradable.
That would be fantastic. So if somebody wants to invent that, and legit set up a company, I will invest in it. I don't have a lot of money, but boy, is that a good way to spend it. Yeah, that's a good point from Daffyd. The people smugglers take the authorities in both countries by surprise every day. And it's like, what? There are people in a dinghy? Yeah, that happened yesterday. Oh, yeah.
It's quite amazing because we were doing really, really well at picking up those little German boats that glided around under the water that you couldn't detect. We did that wonderfully. Magically, a couple of Ethiopians on the back of a bloody motorboat, they can't seem to find them. They get caught out by surprise. It's rather remarkable.
It's amazing how many people can just disappear. I think we should set up some kind of disability training for the Border Patrol and the Coast Guards, personally. They're clearly having eyesight issues.
Get the guide dogs to start doing it.
Seriously. Maybe the guide dogs can just sniff them out instead. Mr. 262 says somebody needs to be training sharks. I mentioned this on the last Tuesday Tyranny, and it was, I think, didn't we get to sharks, electric eels, and then piranha? Did we mention it on Tuesday?
I think we
Tyranny,
settled
or was
on
that
piranha,
after?
I think.
Yeah,
that was just you and I having a chat.
Oh, was it? Oh, damn it! I thought it was on the podcast. Never mind. But yeah, we thought sharks. You know, they require a lot of care. You've got to feed them, you know, with meat and stuff. And then I didn't want to feed them baby seals because I'm totally against that. And I thought electric eels would be much smaller. And then I thought even better, piranha. But piranha, of course, like tropical water, so I don't think they'd thrive very well on the English Channel because it's cold.
What do you mean, Costa del Southend?
Okay. Jonathan is asking, Joe Jordan, did you see what happened in Glasgow with the illegal immigrants? What a cuckfest. That's all I'm going to say.
I had no idea what this is. What is this?
So this whole deport pretty thing came off the back of the fact that she sent immigration officers into Glasgow to remove some illegal migrants from homes. And
you got me excited. I thought they were going to deport the Scots for a moment.
And all the wonderful Scottish people, if they are indeed Scottish, basically protested by, in some cases, laying under the van so they couldn't cart these illegal criminals, because they broke into our country illegally. They couldn't cart these criminals away because these people, like, they're our neighbours and we love them. So there you go. So Scotland, what are you doing?
Did they love them even after the crimes were revealed?
I don't know. Scotland, do you love the people that are there to replace you?
Well, wait, do you love the weird, creepy rapist who lived next door, who doesn't speak to you? Do you like that person?
Well, the general consensus
it's a weird person to like. How about we don't like
if
that
they don't
person,
have
we just deport them.
No, if they don't have European heritage, they are childish, unaware and innocent, therefore they must be defended at all costs, no matter their crime. Johnny Up Powell suggesting he could do a reverse outboard gearbox. I'm not entirely sure what that means. That means when they get near the coast, it automatically goes into reverse. That'd be great. Get Greta on it, says Johnny Red Pill Seed. Don't even start me. Don't even, because she's too busy having a cig or posing for photographs. And then she's just going to get.
I haven't seen her pop up on the BBC recently.
Oh, she
rather
actually
disturbing.
She gave a comment about the Israel Gaza issue.
Oh God!
And that she basically doesn't. She's not against either of them. She just wants all the murders to stop. Essentially, is what she said.
That's like the most middle management answer ever.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't take sides in this. I just wish you'd come together. It's kind of difficult to come together.
Well, the thing is, this is not our problem. I'm very dismayed, actually.
No, couldn't care less.
I'm very dismayed at the amount of I'm going to use that word, simping, that the UK government is doing for one or the other party. I'm not going to say which. Have a guess. It's not our problem, and this is nothing to do with us. And yeah.
I was thinking earlier on, wouldn't it be lovely if a politician, if asked about this, just said, "Not my concern."
That would be amazing.
I'm the Prime Minister of my nation, whichever nation it is, or I'm the President of my nation, whichever it is. That's my concern. This here is two foreign nations having a go at each other. It's about as relevant to me as that time that Ghana decided to invade wherever because they didn't like a hat. It's irrelevant to me.
The problem we've got, though, of course, is when you've got divided loyalties in your government, like the politicians in Britain should be Britain first. Should actually, considering they're being paid by the taxpayers, should be Britain only.
Only. I was about to say only. That's it.
And they're not.
Only.
And these people have divided loyalties, and that is not good for Britain. It just isn't. So when you have a politician who is asked a question about this, and they take sides in this, I thought they were supposed to be very diplomatic and very non-committal and only ever promote Britain's interests. But apparently not so. And this is why you cannot have people with dual nationality or dual loyalty in your own government, because they are not putting your people first. Mr. 262 says, Joe, you don't need to feed them. The food will be free. Yes, but we've got to feed them prior to the food arriving. Although, fair point, food is constantly arriving, isn't it? Okay, let me catch up on the chat. Glasgow thing, well-planned site. Do you know what? There's something else we were going to cover tonight, or we debated it. And it's about, who was it? Was it the Independent or the Guardian or the BBC? I can't remember. It was about one of these deportation flights that got stopped. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time ever that we'd seen someone take the side of the victim. And it was this woman who had been raped by a particular deportee. And she was heartbroken because these do-gooders had stopped this deportee being deported. And it was the only thing that made her feel safe, was knowing that this rapist, this animal, was being deported from our country. And of course it was stopped because these people were like, oh, this person's not European, therefore they're innocent and we must protect them. Well, no one cared about her being protected from him. So that kind of sickens me. Greta the child lunatic. There's definitely something not quite right there. There's a documentary. I'm definitely going to not make time to watch that.
A documentary about what? You're not putting the things up on screen, so I can't see.
I am.
No, you're not.
I am.
What?
It's genuinely up on the screen right now.
One sec. I'm checking.
You're
not
checking
on my screen.
Well, I don't know. There's something wrong with your screen then. Yes.
Oh, bloody hell, it's there. What's happened here?
I don't know. How dare you accuse me?
I have to. I've been sitting here like gently getting annoyed at this all evening. Comments being read out and then not on screen. I don't know what's happened. Yeah, fair enough.
I'll accept your apology
Internally, I apologise to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to refresh the page and see if it starts to work.
Yes, so Nick is here. Good evening, Nick. Metal stream after this, ladies and gents. We're about to finish up anyway. Wish me luck on the march tomorrow. Of course, good luck, Nick. Take loads of video. We would love to see it. Okay.
Hi, I'm back. Thank you for the refresh.
Right. That's interesting. I tried to put something on the screen and it's not showing up. What have you done?
What are you doing?
Oh, it's you.
I know it's me. You're muting me, goddammit. But you're just sitting there tonight thinking, what's that annoying voice that I've got joining me? So I don't know, I'm going to turn it off. On, off. I'll see how it is. First off, you don't let me see chat when you pop it up on the screen, and then you bloody well mute me. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't apologise. Just do better.
Well, Johnny up, pal. You wanted to laugh. You're enjoying. Right. Right. Nick says, get those rich Indians out of Parliament. Again, look, I don't have a personal issue with Priti Patel or Rishi Sunak or Richie Rich, or any of them. But basically, you're not English. You'll never be English. You don't represent the English people. It's simple as. And I'd like to ask all of you, not you, wonderful chat community, you, Rishi Sunak and the Priti Patels of the world, how many English people are in your parliaments? None is the answer, by the way. Rhetorical question, because your parliaments are run by your people for your people.
Philomena's comment.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. This one. Greta is a few carbon footprints short of a climate change.
No,
is that the one?
Not that. Not that. There's a better one.
Getting there. Johnny Red Pill C says, crank those punch cards. Getting there, promise. Monty says £26 million of taxpayers' money going to Windrush. Again, I don't agree. Sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, everyone who's not English, but the English people do not have a duty to you.
But 1 minute. What was the alleged wrong? Some letters went out that said your paperwork wasn't in order. It's time for you to go home. Here's 26 million quid to say sorry.
Oh, God. I just seen that comment. Oh, one easy money. Nick, we plugged your protest. Yes, we did. Is it this one? Fishy sunrack. That might be the comment of the night.
I told you that was good.
That's so good. That's so good. But yeah, basically, we are English people. We are proud. We are proud to be English. We would like representation in our own parliament. I know that's just a really crazy thing to ask for.
Novel concept, I know.
But if you're not English, and if you're not traditionally English, if you're not historically English, and you don't share our ethnicity or our DNA or our traditions or our history, then guess what? You're not English and you don't represent us. But you're taking our money, aren't you? We're paying your wages. Well, you do everything you can to not, well, in the case of Priti Patel, you're not doing your job, are you, love? You're just not. You're not doing your job. You keep talking about, you're going to be very stern with immigrants and illegal immigrants. When? When is this going to happen? Why don't you just change the rules so that people who illegally enter this country cannot ever stay in this country? Why do they have to be in England to apply to stay in England? That is a rule you've made. Change it. Otherwise, you're just useless. Otherwise, you're useless. Like you're just useless, full stop. So I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty tired of foreigners in our government telling everyone how useful they are and how useless we are. I don't care. I don't care. The majority of this country is still English. It's called England because it's the home of the English. We've wound up DJ Mark. Sorry, Mark. We're just having a rant. It's our Friday night rant.
It's the Friday night joke rant.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Pretty useless, says Monty. Yeah, there you go. She needs to change her surname.
Pretty inept.
But the thing is, there's one thing they will never destroy, and that is our faith in ourselves and our ancestors and our country and our history and our traditions. And all these little games they play, they'll never change that. If we stop playing their games, as Andrew rightly said earlier, stop engaging. The government does not represent us. We do not engage with the government. We do not give them any authority over us. Don't play their games. Don't engage in their the voting. I mean, come on. Like voting makes any difference. Because whichever gimp, I'm going to use that word, whatever. Whichever gimp gets into power, we still lose. We still lose. The last time an English government represented the English people, sorry, Northerners, I'm going to say it, was Margaret Thatcher. And even then, only a bit. Only a bit. The reality is they've sold us out. We need to accept this. We just need to accept it and come to terms with it. Now, putting that aside, the political aspect, because there is no political solution to what we're going through, it's all about society and community. They only change us if we allow them to change us. Exactly, Johnny Red Pill Seed. If voting made any real change, it would be made illegal. They only allow us to vote for the illusion. Don't vote for gimps. Be fair. Is there anyone in this chat right now can think of in Parliament who represents you?
No.
Can you think of a single policy? In fact, you know what? In fairness, there is one policy the Conservative Party, the government, the current government, have enacted. It's a bit wishy-washy, but there is one policy they have enacted that I actually agree with. I think for the first time in my entire life, and that is that animals are sentient beings and that they deserve better protections. That's
but
the
you
only
know
one.
what they're going to do with this. They're then going to say, "Oh, wait, we aren't able to eat these sentient beings. You're going to have to make do with your Impossible Burger and your weird worms." I saw them pushing worms today. Not even bloody beetles, just straight up worms. What's wrong with these weirdos? I'm not a frigging Klingon.
It's
I
going to
don't
be the
want to eat your
locust
weird
burger.
worms.
It's interesting, though, that they were very soft soapy about halal and kosher slaughter. Like, oh, we're definitely going to protect animals, and we're going to ask people not to engage in these kinds of slaughter. I don't know. I still do think animals should be recognised as sentient. There is no reason for any culture, any nation, any people to ever inflict abuse and pain on an animal unnecessarily. I'm not about to go and join PETA or anything. Don't be worried about that. But I do believe that animals should be treated humanely in every single case. Even the animals I don't like rats. I still don't think they should be tortured to death. Actually, Johnny Not Powell, we were reading something about this. Apparently it's illegal to have a cat in the UK that's not microchipped.
Yeah, I believe
and that was news to us.
I believe those came in force today. I saw an article on this. It was one of those things. I didn't actually pay terribly much attention because I don't have a cat. I'm pretty certain that it is enforced today.
Yeah,
I may have misread the article.
It's amazing, really. But yeah, and then he goes on to say, then us. Well, some people can argue. We saw an amazing video today, requires further research. Let's just say there are videos floating around online where people are able to attach magnets to a certain part of their anatomy following a certain procedure. That's what I'm going to say. DJ Painkiller, did anyone see Glasgow yesterday? This is that altruistic, what's it called? I can't think of the phrase. No, it's a phrase.
Suicide?
Well, there is that. At the end of the day, if you want freedom, you have to live it. You have to stand by your principles.
Mm-hmm.
We can't sit there demanding freedom and then kind of cuck and go along with the agenda. We've got to pathological altruism. Thank you very much, Johnny Repulsey. That's what I was trying to think of. But it is suicide, yes, as DJ Mark says. Yeah, we can't engage just a little bit because this thing's okay to engage with, or that is. It really is now about developing a mindset where we start to move away from it completely. When we stop relying on the state, that in itself is a freedom that we've never encountered, probably in all of our lives. Stop relying on them. Stop thinking that they're ever going to provide something for you. They've convinced you that they must provide things that you can't possibly provide for yourself. It's utter rubbish. They've made people complacent and lazy. And I'm speaking for myself here. It's very easy to just go with the status quo. It's why there was such an objection when Brexit was enacted or when it was passed. Because people will go with the status quo. It's easy. You know, the things that are worth having are worth fighting for. There's a reason why that's a classic quote. Mm-hmm. But we can't keep, pouring gravy on the pie and then expecting the pie to suddenly...
Pouring gravy on the pie and expecting the pie to what?
To taste good. Eventually the pie gets soggy and rotten. I knew you'd like that. That's amazing. I know. You're impressed, aren't you?
I'm astounded.
That's the most English thing I've ever said. But yeah, it's up to us. It's up to us now to. It's scary. Of course it is, because we've always had the state. We've always had it. All of our lives we've had it. It is scary. But it becomes less scary when you've got people supporting you. And I've not been talking about community for the last year or so because it's an easy trope to go and focus on. It genuinely is the solution to most of our problems. Knowing that you have support and backup. We can't do this alone. We cannot do this in a bubble. We need each other. We need people. You're not eating it fast enough, Joe, says Xanth. Don't turn the pie into soup. No, pie soup is rank. Right, this is the second time Monty's requested this. I think it's only fair.
Adamant.
What do you think?
I mean, I'll find the thing.
Just a bit late, Roy. Sorry. Yeah, a little bit late. You're going to find that specific advert your favourite one, aren't you?
I'm going to try. It's the best advert that they've ever made. I may just copy this advert, like record it and then send it to you so we can have it on demand.
Well, yeah, if we can download it, I can save it onto the thing. Think about the RSPB, says Johnny Not Pal. Birds have a society to protect them. We have to be our own society to protect ourselves. Well, no one else is going to do it, are they? It is up to us.
Oh, one minute. I can't show it because of my potato internet. So I'm going to send you the link.
Okay.
I want this to be in full glory.
I bet you do. Oh, damn, I can't find the... Hang on a second. I can't find the tab.
Oh, no. The tabs have come back to bite Joe.
Yeah, no, legit, I can't find the tab I've just opened it with. How is that possible? Oh, I found it.
I have so many.
I found it. Okay, right, let me close this. Let me open this. Let me do this. And this.
It's tea time.
And this. Okay, let me go big view. Oh, it's
big
not
boy
right,
view.
because it's such an old advert. It's actually not a full screen. Right. Yeah, we're going to finish because it is Metal Night, Heavy Metal Night, was it, on Nick's channel? So this is how we're going to sign out for the show. Apologies about the poll. Honestly, we'll get that sorted for next week. We've got something lined up for this week. We'll get that sorted for next week. Totally my fault. I was so exhausted on Wednesday. I do apologise to everyone. Right, let's have some fun. If everyone's ready, let's do this. I'm sure everyone is ready. Let's go.
Who made this tea? Charlie did, Mr. Bennett. I made it special.
You passed your MOT, Charlie.
Me MOT?
Made horrible tea, lad. Try PG Tips.
Only these tea bags have the famous PG Tips taste. No other. PG Tips tea bags for the tea you can really taste.
I said, I felt to run out of oil.
I knew that.
Quick, pass another spina car. It's gonna go. Quick. Hang on, lad, leave it to me. You're too late, it's gone.
Well, put the kettle under it. I brought our favourite tea.
Some people will only settle for Brook Bond PG Tips. It's the tea you can really taste.
Now, lad, what's needed is little application. Right. Pass the monkey wrench.
Johnny Not Pal says, looks like just like my workshop, only with less chimps, lol. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, I do apologise for the poll. We're going to just surprise you tomorrow. So tomorrow is all about the fun. Okay, so nothing heavy tomorrow. Just going to have a good evening. Hopefully you'll join us, 7:30 as always. And we're just going to have a laugh. We're going to look through some good stuff, have a good chat with this wonderful community, and we will see you then. Can I suggest to everyone that they nip over to Nick's channel now? This is Unwashed. We're going to go over there and host it. And we will see you over there. Thank you, English Wills. Just
put the wrong thing. I'm an idiot. It's via radio, not Unwashed.
Yes. Well. Luckily, English Will save the day. So if you want to copy that to all the platforms, thank you, English Will. Thank you, everyone. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
That was a habit.
And yes, take care all. Have a good night. Go and enjoy the music. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.